When I started doing this 30 years ago, everything was Imperial or inch fasteners. And a lot of the companies who have grown and are exporting outside of the US were kind of forced to go to metric. As I grew in this business and learned the metric side, metric makes a lot more sense. The way that the property classes and grades are set up and the strengths and the sizes and so forth. And really practically, like for today in the US, availability of metric fasteners really for certain value added things are better. Like flange bolts, you don't see a lot of inch flange bolts. You see a lot more hex bolts with washers. Now you got two components. Hardened washers are a little goofy with inch, whereas metric, it's very strict as to the different classes of hardened washers to use with bolts. Torx drive is quickly becoming a preferred internal drive style for smaller screws. You don't see a lot of inch Torx screws. Metric, it's pretty standard. Once you make the jump and you convert and figure it out, as a design engineer, you're going to be a lot happier with the metric system with the inch system. So one other thing on the inch system, threads on the inch have a coarse and fine pitch thread, and we use them both not the same, but we use quite a bit of fine pitch. The metric thread pitch is actually right in between the coarse and fine pitch of an inch, so it kind of takes the best of both worlds.
Is it hard to transition away from inch? How do we go about that transition period to keep manufacturing moving and not slow things down, but still get the benefit of switching to metric?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's not an easy thing, because especially if you're trying to do it on the fly. Typically when we see it is when you are doing a new project, that's the time to switch over. If you are determined to switch to metric and you have a new build coming up, working with your fastener supplier and converting those parts from inch to metric, and then figuring out what is the equivalent part, if you will, is really not that hard. We actually have on the Bossard webpage, we have a converter that will do some pretty simple calculations for you. Say, hey, I'm using a 3/8 by 2 inch bolt, it's a grade 5. What is that in metric? And it spits it out. Okay, that's an M10 by 50, 10.9. And so it helps with that initial pain.